Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to continue to have a look at the latest from the heat wave that we're enduring at the moment, and of course the severe thunderstorm risk we are seeing in some places that will continue throughout today, tomorrow, and likely in a few spots as we head into Tuesday as well. We have numerous yellow warnings, a big update in the warnings this morning from the Met Office. We've got rain warnings and thunderstorm warnings issued throughout today and tomorrow for the risk of a lot of rain falling in a very short space of time. So we'll run through what the live radar's doing at the moment, looking at the different regions at the moment. We've got rain and thunderstorms occurring. We'll have a look at the weather warnings. We'll look at convective weather to see what they have to say, as they were very much bang on with thunderstorm risk yesterday. And then we'll have a look at some various short range charts to have a look at what the raw model data is showing, and finish up by having a look at the ensembles. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So I'm recording this around 1:30 in the afternoon, and you'd expect that we'd start to see some more thunderstorm activity. It does look like it's delayed a little bit from what some of the raw model data is showing, as a lot of models had around 12 till 1 p.m. the thunderstorm risk starting to pop up. We are seeing a few odd thunderstorms across parts of Wales at the moment, up into the northwest of England, one severe cell here, towards central Wales moving northwards, and you see there is some wider area of rain down towards western and southwestern England, and this is the remnants of some French imports. You can see here there's another French import moving in, and if you don't know what a French import is, it's basically a thunderstorm that is taken off over France and heads northwards. Sometimes can maintain enough energy and maintain enough instability to be a thunderstorm along the south coast, perhaps down towards Kent area and inland. Sometimes we can see the most severe thunderstorms coming off France into the Channel and getting some great views, as we've got, of course, flat ocean. You can see a long way out to sea, and you get some really impressive lightning strikes. So it is one thing that a lot of people on the south coast probably know about, but sometimes we can see it move northwards, lose its instability, and turn more to just a general area of rain. And that's what's happening to these areas of precipitation here. We initially started some big thunderstorms last night and earlier this morning, now turning just to general areas of rain across southern and southwestern parts of England, completely separate to these thunderstorms occurring here. So separate development system. These occurred from convection much further southwards. These are homegrown storms up towards Wales. We're expecting more storms to break out across parts of the Midlands, perhaps even towards the London area, before starting to move northwards and westwards once again. And I do think a similar spot to yesterday will have the most severe storms, perhaps more across the West Midlands towards South Wales, whereas yesterday it was northwest England to North Wales, so a similar sort of region, perhaps a slightly further southwards than yesterday, but we're already starting to see some heavy showers break out here, and again, saw a lot of rainfall falling in a short space of time, and of course we did see a snap amber warning issued, and once again, looking at the latest model data, it's looking pretty similar, so I wouldn't be surprised if once again we saw some more snap amber warnings. I do have a bit of a gripe against those, simply because I don't think they actually get out to the public too much, as they're normally issued and expire within a few hours. So I do think they should put them out with more notice, but we may see those this afternoon. Of course, I'll keep you updated. Further northwards, we can see some more precipitation across parts of Scotland. Again, a few heavier showers breaking out. But a lot of this rain across the north of Scotland now is remnants of the thunderstorms that occurred yesterday afternoon into the evening across the West Midlands and northwest England. You can see it all travelling southwards to northwards, and again, saw a lot of heavy rain within this. Now, as I said, it's 1:30 in the afternoon, so we're starting to reach the peak temperatures of the day, and you can see we don't have the cloud, and we don't have a few heavy showers breaking out. A lot of that cloud associated with those French imports. We're seeing temperatures widely rise to the 30 to 32 degree range once again. We officially saw, I think it was 32.3 degrees from a Met Office station yesterday. So once again, very hot conditions quite widely, and again, we're seeing that today. Again, these temperatures will be held down as soon as thunderstorms or any showers start to break out. The last thing I want us to look at on the live radar is have a look at the past 24-hour precipitation, as this just shows us the really tight track we do see from thunderstorms. So you can see the thunderstorms that occurred yesterday across parts of Western England, starting breaking out towards Oxford, Reading and Swindon. These are the initial cells. You can see some dark greens or yellow showing around 30 to 50 millimetres perhaps, and then all tracking up towards northwest England, and this is where we saw the amber warning issued up from Worcester through the Birmingham area, Telford, Wrexham, Chester, up towards Merseyside. And it looks like Liverpool got absolutely battered by a thunderstorm cell here, seeing a good few inches of rainfall continuing further northwards as well before heading out into the Irish Sea. And you can see again where the thunderstorms came back on land up towards southwest Scotland, heading northwards and now clearing off. Still seeing some heavy rainfall there and a few isolated torrential parts. So you can just see the track of these thunderstorms, and once again we'll probably see a similar track from thunderstorms breaking out over the course of this afternoon. We also head over to NetWeather. We're able to see the max temperatures today so far, and as of course we only have the 1 p.m. observations in, so it's likely to rise by another degree or two, but once again widely reaching that high 20s or low 30s, with 30 to 31 degrees observed in many areas around that 11 to 1 p.m. point. Remember, these are not all the weather stations, but just a sample that NetWeather have access to. So we are seeing 30 plus degrees, and I wouldn't be surprised if we actually eclipse yesterday's temperatures, considering by midday or 1 p.m. we're already seeing 30 or 31 degrees. Of course, we'll have to see how that does develop over the coming hours. But if we do go over to probably the most important part of the video, is have a look at the weather warnings. If we do first look at today's warnings, we've got a widespread thunderstorm warning, and again was updated yesterday, so no update on this, but once again it's for severe thunderstorms from midday today until 9 p.m. this evening. And again, while some places will remain largely dry, thunderstorms with heavy rain and hail likely to develop in places. Again, we look at the warning matrix, high impact, low likelihood. So if we did see the thunderstorms occur, starting to cluster like they did yesterday, then the likelihood will skyrocket, and that is where we see our amber warnings issued. Once again, 30 to 40 millimetres an hour, 60 millimetres in a few hours, and we saw that on the live radar when we looked at the past 24-hour precipitation. We saw those yellow areas, those are the regions that saw 50, 60 millimetres of rain. So as you can see, it is very localised, but where it does occur, we can see some big issues. There's another warning issued today for rain from 7 p.m. this evening until 9 a.m. tomorrow, because it looks like, combined with a bit of French imports and some homegrown thunderstorms, we'll see a bit of a developed system in the southwest. A large area of rain, unlikely to be too thundery, but there could be some thundery aspects to it. But heavy rain will bring some disruption during Sunday evening and night. We have been looking at it on the live radar, but not really focusing on it too much, as it has really ramped up in the last couple of days in terms of widespread nature and its consistency with the models. But it's looking likely an area of heavy rain is expected to develop and move northwestwards across parts of southern and southwest England and the southern parts of Wales during Sunday evening, clearing on Monday. It is heavy rain, it's remnants of thunderstorms, so it's going to have quite a big sort of torrential rain risk, 10 to 20 millimetres, as much as 50 to 60 millimetres in 3 to 6 hours. So not the same rainfall rate as a thunderstorm, but still a lot of rainfall within it over a longer period of time. There's also the risk of a few thunderstorms, decaying thunderstorms will be within it, and of course we could see some embed or develop on its northern edge, like we're seeing in Wales at the moment with the other risk of rain across southwest England. So you need to keep a close eye on this rainfall warning, as we'll see on the precipitation charts in a minute, that there is the risk of some quite heavy rain there, and again we'll have to keep a very close eye on it. Now, after you move in tomorrow, we've got a scattering of thunderstorm risks, as we've been looking at on the live radar, on the precipitation charts over the last couple of days, have said that as we head into sort of Sunday, Monday time, that thunderstorm risk is less localised and more widespread. Can't say exactly where the most intense storms will be, but the risk is much more widespread, and that's what we're seeing here from the warnings. We've got a large warning once again through the West Midlands, northwest England, into parts of Wales, through southwest Scotland, through northern and eastern Scotland, and for western parts of Northern Ireland. So with that yellow warning that expires in the morning, and then we have a thunderstorm warning once again from midday tomorrow until 9 p.m. Thunderstorms and torrential downpours may bring disruption to parts of England and Wales during Monday, again issued earlier this morning. 30 millimetres in an hour or so, or 60 to 80 millimetres in more than a few hours. And very interestingly, look at the warning impact matrix. Likelihood has risen here. We did think that in the last couple of days, as I said, Monday would have a widespread thunderstorm risk, but the likelihood has increased for this. That means that an amber warning is very close by. Again, we're still a good day away from any of these storms even starting to take off, so we'll have to see. But I wouldn't be surprised now if we saw an amber warning issued either tonight or into tomorrow for these thunderstorms, given that already the likelihood has risen. Have been seeing this on the models, but obviously the models today are definitely showing a bit more of an amped up risk considering the warnings issued this morning and how it is higher on the likelihood matrix. If you look at the thunderstorm warning across Northern Ireland, again thunderstorms developing during Monday afternoon, may bring some disruption, and again high impact but still very low likelihood. And again, these are affecting all of these regions, so these three warnings are all linked for the same impacts from the Grampian, Central Tayside and Fife, Highlands, Northern Ireland, South West Scotland and Strathclyde. Again, 20 to 30 millimetres an hour or so, maybe 40 to 50 millimetres, and frequent lightning also likely to be a high hazard, along with hail. And of course, big thing with this is they will be fairly slow moving. Lack of wind speeds will mean that thunderstorms are slower moving, and this is as we transition to a hot but drier spell next week. Not quite as hot as this weekend, as the winds do veer more from an easterly, so temperatures likely to drop down towards the mid-20s, still relatively hot, still potentially hitting heatwave thresholds in regions. But as we head into the middle of this upcoming working week, the winds will flip to more of an easterly, high pressure will build in, and as this transition happens, while we've still got the instability around, the winds will fall lighter, and that means the thunderstorms will be slower moving through Monday into Tuesday. Very interesting seeing that. I have to keep a very close eye on that, because even if the thunderstorms aren't insane, they're not severe. Even if we only saw 10 to 20 millimetres per hour, if they did stuck around for a number of hours, that's when we can see a lot of issues. Now, if you do over to convective weather, again, they had a very good forecast yesterday. Their high warning zone was exactly where we saw the amber warning issued in the afternoons. Of course, they're ahead of it a little bit before the Met Office. Of course, they're not the official Met Office. Of course, they can take more risks. They can be a bit more out there. But they were very much bang on, and once again, they have a moderate risk through most of western into northwestern England, into parts of Wales, even down towards southern England here. A moderate risk again up towards northern Scotland, a widespread slight risk and a low risk covering pretty much all regions. And of course, we've got this black line showing you where severe storms could occur, and of course, it is a large area. So once again, huge uncertainty exactly where severe storms will take off. But quite large areas within this once again. And go have a look at their websites. They've got very, very detailed description on what will be happening on different precipitation amounts, different types of thunderstorms, exact locations, and different sort of pressure levels, and things that may prohibit or inhibit thunderstorm development in certain regions, like overcoming the cap, things like that, which we can struggle with when we have these sorts of patterns. So make sure you go check this out. But once again, highlighting where we think the biggest thunderstorm risk will be today. So you now go over to the raw precipitation charts and have a look at what they are showing over the course of the next couple of days. Now, the UKV hasn't actually performed too well, considering yesterday's storm outbreak. It did show thunderstorms developing, but didn't show them quite as widespread, as intense as they were in reality and what other models were showing. So if we run through this afternoon, we can see thunderstorms breaking out, especially through eastern regions initially. We're not seeing it on the live radar at the moment, and systems further westwards are more intense. So perhaps UKV is a bit shifted this a bit further eastwards than it is in reality, but thunderstorms moving northwards and westwards, but decaying away very quickly this evening, which is not really what the warnings are showing. So perhaps again UKV struggling with the thunderstorm outbreaks here, but you can see the remnants of storms combined with some French imports down towards the southwest, producing an area of heavy, even thundery rain from the UKV here, still maintaining some of those very high rainfall rates through southern Wales and southwest England, turning into quite a big multi-celled or large convective system. That moves into southern islands and gives more heavy rain, and then we see major thunderstorm outbreaks through Monday afternoon. UKV here showing a big risk, some huge thunderstorms breaking out here with some very dark reds appearing, indicating some very torrential rain is possible. And again, this is why that likelihood was increased on the Met Office warning, and again we could see an amber warning issued on this. Those thunderstorms continue through the afternoon through many areas of England into Wales and even up towards Scotland as well, and again we'll see that continue. Into Tuesday, as I said, the risk does decrease, but we still could see some thunderstorms across parts of Scotland and Western Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, as we do see all that instability move away as high pressure builds in, and many people will be loving to see, especially if you have been impacted by those thunderstorms, that by Wednesday most of England and Wales is completely dry, really only a few thunderstorms in the far northwest of Scotland and Western Republic of Ireland, and Thursday, very small risk in most regions, again a few isolated showers or thunderstorms, but most regions starting to turn much drier, but the upper air temperatures have dropped by a couple of degrees, still well above average, still hot, but not quite 30 plus degree heat. If you look at the max temperatures from this, again this afternoon looking likely to see into the low 30s, once again 30 to 32 degrees. Again, it will very much depend on the thunderstorms, because the UKV here has thunderstorms breaking out in the east, so it's all course going to bring those temperatures down, but we're not seeing that in reality, and that's why already temperatures have peaked at 30 or 31 degrees and likely to rise even higher in the coming hours. As we head towards Monday, again, temperatures very hot in regions where we don't see the thunderstorms, especially to the north. We will see 30 or 31 degrees. As we head into Tuesday, temperatures rising once again quite widely, 30 to 31. But you can see the heat is moving westwards as that wind direction changes and the heat and instability moves towards our west. And by Wednesday, still pretty hot, but more sort of 26 to 28 here with the isolated 29 or 30, so you can always see the temperatures dropping by a degree or two. And by Thursday, still a reasonably hot day, but once again, not seeing 30 to 32, more likely 27 to 29. So some would say it's pretty irrelevant drop. We're still at heatwave thresholds, but it will be a couple of degrees. Down from sort of 31, 32 we're seeing now, maybe isolated 33 perhaps today, down back towards sort of 27 to 29. So still heatwave threshold, still very hot, but just not quite as hot with less instability around for many. Now if you go over to the WRF, again, the Cape charts have been off the scale really the last couple of days, and once again they are pretty off the scale for the next 2 days at least. Insanely high Cape levels through today, especially through eastern and central regions. I said, as I'm recording this, I can look out my window in the London area and I can already see the big cumulonimbus clouds starting to grow, and we're not seeing anything on radar. So just showing you the energy that's out there, and we are likely to see some big thunderstorms breaking out in the next half an hour probably, or hour or so. So by the time you're watching this video, the live radar is probably going to be pretty irrelevant at the start of the video, as we are going to be seeing those big thunderstorms start to break out in eastern and central regions. But insane levels of Cape through the afternoon, they continue all the way to sort of 7, 8 p.m. And we're likely to see some big thunderstorms breaking out there and continuing through the evening, even into northern regions as well. Now the Cape will transfer further westwards into tomorrow, and again, some very high levels. Energy is getting up to 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram. Very high levels of Cape developing. Once again further westwards, and that's where we could see some intense thunderstorms, and I would not be surprised. I'd almost expect an amber warning. Look at this. Not only have the models increased in intensity, but they have increased in their reliability and consistency. And considering what we saw the amber warning issued yesterday, I think looking at this latest data, we're probably going to be seeing an amber warning issued for tomorrow as well. Maybe even this evening if we saw some thunderstorms cluster as well. Finally, as we head into Tuesday, you can see the Cape levels do drop substantially. Could still see some high levels of Cape in the west. We'd still be probably talking about this if we hadn't had a number of thunderstorm days leading up to this. We'd probably be saying quite a big risk here, and there is, but not quite as widespread as we saw previously, and as we saw on the UKV, the risk is much further westwards. And then finally, as we head into Wednesday, again, the risk is just transferring further westwards and northwards as that instability moves away. Now, if you look at the precipitation for this afternoon, you see intense thunderstorms breaking out through many central regions, reclustering around the West Midlands into northwest England before clearing out into the Irish Sea once again. Not quite showing that area of rain across the southwest as much. It's interesting seeing that from the WRF here, really not making too much of it. As again, it's decaying thunderstorms. They could decay very quickly. That's probably what the WRF is going for, whereas the UKV and the Met Office do think that that area of heavier rain will hang around for a lot longer. So perhaps the WRF is a bit wrong here. But it's got the general gist of thunderstorms that I do agree with from looking at the latest model data. And then as we head into tomorrow, more severe thunderstorms breaking out, especially in western regions, with really big thunderstorm cells and eventually degrading away and clearing further westwards, with more cells breaking out on Tuesday in the far west. If we do finish by looking at probably the highest regarded model from many, the Rhone run, it is a French run, so we can't have a look at areas north of this chart, as it really does only look at France and the surrounding areas. So unfortunately we do get cut off Scotland, but we see most of the main risk for the UK, for England and Wales over the next sort of 24 to 36 hours, and again, it only runs out to Monday evening. So on through this afternoon, Cape levels really starting to pick up around that lunchtime region, and again, intense thunderstorms breaking out around 2 or 3 p.m. So pretty much as I'm recording this, and as I said, I've looked out the window, I can already see those big cumulonimbus clouds starting to build. So intense thunderstorms breaking out mainly through western regions, some intense cells this evening, and we do see that heavier rain continue in the southwest, so Rome is definitely on board with that, so perhaps just a mistake from the WRF here. But the thunderstorms further north and westwards do degrade away around 8-9 p.m, luckily moving northwards. That heavier rain really is intense through southern Wales here, some really intense storms and heavier rain here. And again, looking at the intensity, I wouldn't be surprised if there are thunderstorms embedded within this. So perhaps a multi-celled system developing, have to keep a very close eye on it. And then finally, as we head into tomorrow afternoon, more intense thunderstorms breaking out into a line, a big multi-celled cluster here through the West Midlands, up towards northwest England, looking like a carbon copy of what happened yesterday, but perhaps even more intense and even larger in scale. So again, amber warning could be issued for this, and again you can see the faint yellow or orange line here showing Cape levels rising to above 1500 joules per kilogram. Very, very high levels of Cape looking likely here as we do head in this upcoming very thundery spell we're seeing at the moment. So make sure you stay safe out there. If you finish budgeting at the ensembles, just to keep an update on what's going on the longer term. If you are hating the thunderstorms, you've been badly impacted by them in the last 24 hours and are looking like in the firing line the next 48 hours. Luckily, from around Wednesday onwards, many areas will be without thunderstorms. As we saw in the UKV, only really continuing across parts of the western of Republic of Ireland and northwest Scotland into next week. Most areas, the upper air temperatures will drop, but because of the surface heat that's built and the ground temperatures being very warm, still likely to see 25 to 30 degrees, but much drier before precipitation signal could increase in the longer term. But we are seeing a bit of a rise in those upper air temperatures. In around 10 days' time, could be seeing another hotter spell starting to develop. And as I said in yesterday's video, with the very hot ground temperatures we have at the moment, we don't need all too hot upper air temperatures to see that 30 degrees become back to return, just because of the sunstroke this time of year and the really warm, dry, tinder dry ground temperatures we do have in many regions. Maybe not quite after some of the thunderstorms, but generally very dry conditions. It does allow those temperatures to rise very, very quickly. So perhaps we are seeing some another perhaps hot spell or proper hot spell developing here, but perhaps even in this dip here we might not even escape heatwave conditions. Into the longer term, look at that operational run rising to around 19 degrees at 850 HPA. That would be a recipe for mid-30s, 35 degrees or above. Have to keep a very close eye on that. One of the runs went for that yesterday as well. So we could be in for an insanely hot June here, and with all that heat, likely to be a lot of instability as well. So it could be for a very thundery June. A very lively June could be setting up here. And finish, just look at those 2 meter temperatures, likely not to drop much below 25 degrees in the coming days. And again, these are the midday temperatures, so by 3 p.m, always going to be slightly hotter. So in many regions, not likely to drop below 25 degrees in the next week to 10 days, staying very warm as the longer term. You can see that operational run starting to get up towards the mid-30s there in the longer term. Have to keep a very close eye on it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Video has dragged on a little bit longer than anticipated, so I hope you have enjoyed if you have made it this far. Make sure you stay safe out there this weekend, whether you are impacted by the very hot weather, stay hydrated, wearing sunscreen if you're out, or whether you're going to be impacted by those thunderstorms. Make sure you stay safe out there. Keep an eye on the weather warnings as they will be updated quite regularly. But anyway, regardless of that, do have a great rest of your weekend and great upcoming week, as it is going to continue to be very warm and very summery. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.